of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the dawn chorus. The birds are singing, the lions are roaring. This is Safari Live. Ready?
Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Welcome to a glorious sunrise safari. My name is Brent. I've got VM on camera. Now, we heard lions roaring somewhere in this area. Unfortunately, the only tracks we've seen are crossing to the north into Buffelshoek. So we're just sitting quietly, taking in the beautiful bird sounds, the sunrise, and hoping we can hear a lion that's still on Djuma. If we have no luck, we'll just go look for some leopards. But let's carry on. Remember, this is 100% live, so you're looking for lions with VM and myself. Maybe not quite at the same time. It's at 5 a.m. here in South Africa. And it's a little bit chilly this morning, 20 degrees Celsius, 72 Fahrenheit. And remember, you can also ask us questions by using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or the email address, questions@WildEarthTV. So I'm going to do one last loop through this area. I've got the sinking sensation that the lions might have left us, but it means that they will be back at some point. But that's fine. We'll go see if we can find Queen Karula. And the birds are very vocal on this beautiful, beautiful clear morning. Probably find it's going to be a scorcher. Or I think we might get to 100 Fahrenheit today. Where are the kitty cats this morning? Oh, there we go. Hello, little Duiker. Oh, disappear. Oh, there he is. Female Duiker. Oh, you hear that, Vim? Funny, I heard something up ahead. Not 100% sure what that was. Just caught us a tail end. It almost sounded like it could be a contact call of lions. VM says he heard contact calls behind his room, which is just over here. So maybe the lions got split during a hunt, and we'll find some of them. Oopsie. Okay. Not seeing anything just yet. Very faint sound. Nope, no lions here. Now, someone from Buffelshoek is going to check the last position of the Nkahumas. Okay, we're going to we're going to finish our last loop. If we get no sign of the lions here, we're going to go try see if Karula and Hosanna and Shangila are possibly still in the same spot they were yesterday. But while we do that, let's go say good morning to Jamie.
And a very good morning, official good morning to all of you, and welcome to the Sunrise Safari, where we are starting off with a very vocal troop of baboons, or at least they were vocal up until a moment ago. What a lovely way to start off, with the troop that we've actually seen regularly in this particular spot, which is just near the Mulwati drainage line, which is a big dried out river. I wanted to try and let you hear the sounds of the baboons. Unfortunately, it seems to be the ones behind me that are making the biggest racket. Stop and have a jolly good leg scratch. That's nice. Here we go. Deep booming barks of the big male is echoing behind us. Boom! Hello, guys. Very good morning to you. Sorry, everybody. Just letting one of the other vehicles on their way out come past. Cheers. There we go. But yes, a very good morning and welcome to the Sunrise Safari. And I completely concur with Brent. I think it is going to be another scorcher of a day. These baboons are about to disappear. Now, there we go. I'm glad that we watched them. Oh, no. There we go. Well done, Jandre. Let me rephrase that. These baboons may soonish disappear, but we have one in the tree for now, and I imagine the rest of the troop is going to be coming through behind me. But, oh, here we go. This is too good an opportunity to miss. Just hold on 1 second, because if we come off these baboons now, they're going to disappear. So let's have a look at the big male, and then I will do my proper good mornings and introductions in a moment. These are rare opportunities with baboon troops. They don't often stick around, although this one is getting better. Yeah, big boy. Here is one of the big dominant males. Twice the size of the female, twice the size and weight, and with canines to rival leopards and lions, they are a formidable, formidable force. I thought they were going to come dashing across the road. It's actually been a saunter. Look at that swagger that he's got happening there. There we go. Profound swelling underneath the tails of some of the individuals tells us that they're females, not quite in estrus, but they are sexually mature females, possibly about to come into estrus. It's one animal where, one of the primates where colour plays an enormous role in letting them know about sexual receptiveness. On that note, a very good morning to all of you. My name is Jamie. Sorry, I didn't want to take my eyes off the baboons for a second. This morning I have Jandre on camera with me, bringing you the images of these baboons. And let's just go catch up with them ever so quickly. And don't forget that you are on a live safari from the middle of the Kruger National Park, the Greater Kruger National Park, and that you can, if you have any questions on these fantastic animals and others, you can send those through on #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@WildEarth.tv. Let's try for one more view. I think that's going to be it. There we go, that's the last clear spot. And the entire troop moving through. If this is the troop that I'm thinking of, they actually only have one very large male, which can be quite unusual in baboons. You often have more than one. In fact, you usually have more than one. They have a very interesting social hierarchy. Whoop. An elegant-ish descent. Good morning to Jamis and welcome. My first question of the morning. We want to know, why is it that baboons' tails look like they are broken like that? It's an interesting one. One of the theories put forward as to why baboons have those tails, because of course they're not quite as agile or as arboreal as monkeys. So their tails don't play such an enormous role in their climbing. One of the theories as to why they are propped up at that angle is particularly for females, because in the first few months or the first few weeks of their baby's lives, they have to wander around on 3 legs with their babies clutched to their chests. Obviously that's not very practical and not very safe, so as soon as the babies are old enough, they get onto their mom's backs and they ride piggyback style. But supposedly the tail acts as a nice little backrest for them. Interestingly enough, the angle of the tail, I don't know exactly, nobody really knows exactly why it is they've got that distinctive kink in the tail. I think it's just more practical, but it does start to droop. The older the baboon gets, and I can't, but researchers can actually roughly, if they can't get a view of the baboon's teeth, they can sort of roughly estimate baboons' ages once they're adult and once they're mature, by the droop of their tail. So there you go. It's an interesting aging factor in baboons, funnily enough. But as to why they are the shape that they are, I think it's residual tails. I think that they probably would have found that they used to could have served a purpose like monkeys, in terms of acting almost like a fifth limb. The vervet monkeys are a particularly good example of that. You'll watch them, they use their tails all the time. Baboons are good at climbing, but not quite as good as vervet monkeys, and they do spend a lot more time on the ground. And that's one of the reasons why the males are as big as they are, to ensure that they can act as a very intimidating force, even for something like a leopard. I think, unfortunately, they've moved off. Michael, you wanted to know if baboon troops have set territories. Yes, they have set home ranges. They don't necessarily go about, as far as I know, they don't go about marking a territory, which is actually really the definition of a territory. A home range is the entire piece of land that an animal will utilize. A territory is something that the animal actively defends. So, for example, the Nkuhumas at the moment, they have a massive home range that goes all the way to the Manyeleti, Simbambili, Arathusa. But up until relatively recently, their territory that they were regularly roaring in, regularly calling in, and I'm sorry, this actually does tie into baboons, in that there is a baby impala over there. And interestingly enough, it's a difficult one, but it might decide their mom's going to move. There's little one. Sorry, I'll get back to your question, Michael, in a second. Oh, little one. It's so wobbly. Now, this little one does actually have to be careful. And for the most part, baboons and impala get on very well. Impala are often found browsing beneath the trees that baboons are feeding up in, because they get to eat the fruits and the leaves and the debris that the baboons knock down. But it is not unheard of for a baboon to catch and kill an impala lamb. It does happen, and it is not a pretty sight at all. Not that a kill ever is, but baboons can be particularly brutal. And just keep going a little bit there, Chandres. Oh, there's a bush in your way. Never mind. I saw another little antelope, but I don't know if I imagined it. If I'm hallucinating bushbuck this morning. I am. Or it's run away. It's more likely that it's run away. Possibly away from the... No, it's there. Can you see? There. I'll go forward ever so... Hey, I'm not hallucinating bushbuck. Oh, it's not a bushbuck, it is a baby Nyala. It is a little baby sleepy Nyala. Good morning. With your giant ears and big round brown eyes. So very doleful. Look, that tiny. I mean, when Nyala are very, very first born, their moms often leave them lying up in hidden places just like this. We've seen Karula take advantage of that relatively recently in the Mulwati. I wonder where your family is. Hello, little one. Are they just behind you, maybe? Or is this baby just a lot tinier than I think it is? Ah, good night. You're going back to sleep. Fair enough. It is still very early. Sorry, Michael. We were talking about baboons. They do have set home ranges, and they do have often set routes that they'll walk. You'll notice these baboons when we see them during the day, they tend to be moving north-south. Not very much movement east-west. Oh, goodness, there's actually still more of them coming. They're coming behind me. Hold on. Whoopsie. trying not to scare them. No, Jigger, come, stay started, please. They will also... Whoop. There we go. Oh, look. All the babies. There's one riding on Mom's back, see what I mean? Looks like it's fast asleep. Oh no, it's awake. Morning. There's one hanging underneath Mom, clutching on for dear life. Oh, baboon babies are adorable. Oh, surprised. Didn't realize there was another troop there. And they can actually have relatively fierce clashes with other baboon troops. They'll also almost always... Let's not get stuck in this thick sand. They also almost always have set roosting trees that they like to spend the night in. So, and you'll often find, because human beings, of course, like to build lodges around rivers, and rivers have big trees, you'll often find baboons roost every night around lodges on the river, which is why you'll go to sleep, if you go to stay in one of those lodges, you'll go to sleep with the constant bah of the baboons at night. They're just that little bit too far in. Sorry, I'm trying. I don't think we'll have to take this as our last view, unless there are more waiting in the woodwork, which I don't think so. There they go. There are a couple of relatively tiny babies. There's the piggybacking one. Cool. Very nice. Now, I think we might be done. Morning to Shamsun, as we attempt to wake Jigger up this morning. You want to know if there is a distinctive birthing season for baboons? You'll probably find that if you look at averages, there's a slight peak in the rainy season. And there may even be a more pronounced peak in the rainy season, just because there's more food available, there's plenty of fruit. It's so much better for them than having babies in the dry season, but they do have babies all year round. Much like elephants, for example. Elephants don't have a strict breeding season. The females come into estrus individually. It's not determined by any set time of year, as it is with the Impala, like the one we saw. However, you'll find there will almost certainly be a peak in this, around this time of year. And that's for most animals. There's more baboons. Where did you come from? Look at you all. Right, I'm going to stop saying our baboon sighting is over, because so far that has proved to be 100% false. And they keep popping out of everywhere. And there's one perfectly silhouetted. Now I hear tell, although I did not see it, and I'm quite sorry that I didn't see it, because I think it would have given me a good chuckle, that when you were with James yesterday on the sunset safari, Chandra, were you with James yesterday? You were, when the branch broke under the baboon. It sounded hilarious. I can only imagine that James's narration made it even more so. Apparently yesterday a baboon sat on a slightly rotten branch, and it's sort of caved underneath the baboon's weight. You know, these dead trees are not always that stable. That's a very cool silhouette. Almost silhouette. Very good question from Anne about whether or not primates have different blood groups in the same way people do. I have absolutely no idea. I honestly don't. I am open to hearing about whether or not they have different blood types. I really don't know. My suspicion would be that for something like a chimpanzee, yes, since of course there's a very, very close relationship between the DNA of chimpanzees and the DNA of humans. Very, very little difference. Sorry, I'm just listening to James. He's just got up and out, driving our special guests around. I bet James would know. I have no idea, but that's a really good question. Down you go. And dare I say our baboon sighting is over, or shall I be proved to be incorrect once again? It's entirely possible. They're still on Djuma, so we might actually see them crossing Cheetah cut line as we move a little bit further to the east. I honestly I'm thinking so much about the blood type now. It's very interesting. And a good morning to Gail. Speaking of baboons, which we have seen them a little bit more regularly. Dale, not Gail, Dale, I'm sorry, Dale. Good morning to you, Dale. And Gail, if you want to know this as well, wherever you happen to be. But Dale, more specifically, Dale, you want to know if baboons will hunt and kill their own meat or if they will rob from things like leopards. Now they can hunt their own. It is relatively unusual in times of plenty and in times of summer, but they are opportunistic, and you'll find that just like all of the predators, there are some that are more specialized in it than others. And it's most common examples of baboon predation. It's not even common enough for them to be called predators, but you'll find in most cases of baboon predation it is Impala lambs, just because they are so vulnerable, and it naturally will be the big males. And you'll find, from what I've read in the research, it seems to be that some baboon troops and some groups of males will be better specialized at it, and they'll actually learn, which primates do. All animals do to an extent, but primates, of course, are one of the groups that do it the best. They'll actually learn from each other how to go about hunting things like little Impala lambs. It's unusual. I've never seen it. I have only ever seen videos or read about it. So I think it's something that we're unlikely to see on these live safaris, but goodness gracious, we have seen many unlikely things on these live safaris. And there you go, another question relating to baboon predation. And I feel like since we're talking about baboons, I might as well just try and poke my nose onto Cheetah cut line, which is the eastern boundary of Djuma. Barbara, you wanted to know if baboons will prey upon vervet monkeys. No. That's the interesting thing, that they don't seem to, they're not on their menu. You'll probably find, just because animals and exceptions to all general rules, you'll probably find if you go back into records, you'll find there's 1 or 2 cases of a baboon killing a monkey that perhaps got too close to a baby or just upset them in some way, came into their personal space and was not tolerated by the very protective males. So you might find that there are cases of baboons killing monkeys, but they won't prey on them, no. And you'll often see them feeding in very close proximity to each other without any major conflict. I think it's because the monkeys are faster and more agile and, as I said, better climbers than baboons. So as long as the monkeys stay out of the way, they're fine. Try for one last view. I'm very curious. Please, can you let me know about blood types? Those of you that are in the know, or perhaps happen to have Google at your fingertips, which is very useful because I don't. I would love to know about baboon blood types. Specifically, but also I wonder if that... No, don't go. Oh dear. X-Ranger wants to know what the purpose of having different blood groups is. Now you're taking me back to, I don't remember how old I was when I was learning about blood groups. I haven't done any learning about it since, X-Ranger. Let's have a look at a waterbuck. Or not. Or she could disappear behind a tree. I need to just stop and think for a second, X-Ranger, about the purpose. Oh, sorry. Chandra telling me that me covering my hat while I'm trying to think apparently has the profound effect of muffling my microphone, which makes sense seeing as my microphone is in my head. Sorry, Chandra, and everybody else. I assume genetic variability in terms of different blood types, as with any genetic variability, is going to give certain sectors of a population certain resistance against certain things. I can't think exactly what the purpose apart from that of different blood types will be. I'm sorry, by the way, the baboons have not popped out. And we shall continue to wend our merry way towards Cheetah Plains whilst I ponder the mysteries of blood types. If primates do have different blood types, do they have the same A's, B's, AB's, O's, negatives, positives? Do they have the same as us? Or do they not? That's another interesting question. Can't believe I've never thought of that before. Maybe I did. Maybe I learnt it once upon a time and it's been erased from my memory. But very good questions coming through first thing this morning. So while I do some pondering on my long journey towards the Great Plains of the Cheetah, let's go over to Brent to see how his morning is going.
Okay, well, we've now circled twice, and there was a report that the lions were at the Djuma pan, but I've just got a report that their tracks head deeper into Buffalo's Hook, so I'm a little bit confused. I can't find any tracks in this area, so I think we're going to go look for Queen Karula. Maybe the lions will pop up a little later. So the reason we went to look for the lions first is that nice cool morning like this, we were hoping they were going to be quite active and playing and jumping about, but alas, we cannot find them, so let's go look for a leopard. What you got? Oh, there we go, well spotted, Vim. Oh, he might not go far. One of the noisiest birds at the moment. You got him there, Vim. He's through the bush. I think there might be a gap there. There he is. A little to the right. A little bit to the right. There. There he is. A Levaillants Cuckoo. Very, very noisy at the moment. All starlings beware, the brood parasite is here. So you often find Jacobin, Levaillants cuckoos in areas where there are lots of starlings. It's one of their favoured brood parasites. Oh, sorry, one of their favourite hosts species. So for those of you not sure what a brood parasite is, all cuckoos are brood parasites. And what they'll do is they'll kick the eggs of a starling out, or that particular cuckoo, and lay their eggs in its place, and the starlings end up raising the cuckoo's chicks, doing all the hard work for them. Well, there's another one. Is he going to land out in the open? Also everywhere today. There we go, that one's landed out in the open. And I see a very distinct crest. Now there's two of these cuckoos you can get confused with, the Levaillants and the Jacobin. Now there we go, you can see that's definitely a Levaillants. You can just see the throat's quite dark and heavily streaked, whereas the Jacobin will have a much more white throat. All over the place, calling, making noise. There's another one there. Oh, he's off. But yes, this little section through here in the thickets around the Gallagher pan seems to be striped cuckoo hangouts, and there's always a lot of Birchill starlings here, so it could be that there's quite a few Birchill starlings nests in this area, and that is why all the cuckoos are here. I know James is on his way to go check if Karula's still there. We're going to go give him a hand. James is, of course, doing what I did yesterday and driving our guests. Sorry, just thought I saw a track there. And James is going to check in from the east, we'll come down from the west. Just let him know. James, no sign of the pride around that area. I'm going to give you a hand following up on Karula. What are those Impalas looking at? It's very pretty light. The Impala's steering to the north. Probably looking at James. Beautiful morning here in the Sabi Sands. There's a still pregnant female. A lovely, lovely light this morning. Now I wonder if Hosanna has rejoined Karula and Shongile. Not sure how they got split up, but there were baboon tracks in the area. That's a possibility. Now, wouldn't it be lovely if Karula just sets up shot on the edge of quarantine, all those baby Impala? But I think they'll get a bit wise if she spends too long there. So just making sure she didn't sneak out towards Zoe's road. So far, no tracks. Oh dear. Now, that was from the incredible wind I'm sure we've had in the last few days. That the dying and rotting boerbean, it's lost some of its branches. Strong winds. Dead trees. Don't like them. So this is the area where Karula was in yesterday, right down in the little dry riverbed there. Actually, you can see the tree she was under exactly from here. There we go. That's the tree she was under yesterday. Nice big jackalberry tree. See a leopard in it, Vim? It's worth a check. And Shongile was climbing all over that tree yesterday. Michael's wondering how far was Hosanna from where we saw Shongile and Krula, and not that far, Michael, a couple of 100 meters. Oh, watch out for VM's finger, he's just playing with some settings there. Oh, it's going to be a very bright day today. The sun is already shining brightly, and it's barely after 5 a.m. Okay, now where's the route in from the west? Should be around here. There we go. That tree we looked at from the distance is just in front of us here. Now, the leopards might be lying a little way off that tree as well, so they could be anywhere around us. Vim sees there's some Impala off to the right of us. Oh, there's a big stump. Now, Impalas. That might not be the... Oh, I do hear an alarm call though, so it could be there. Thought I heard a Franklin. Choo, choo. Sorry, James, go again. I copy. I'm going to head down towards Philemon's. I'm just going to try to check where the carcass was yesterday. Okay, so James says he hasn't had any luck. And it doesn't look like there's any Impala left. Let's have a quick look from this side. And it doesn't look like anything's here. So the queen has moved on, but that's good. We like a little bit of a challenge, so we're going to go try see if we can find her. So with a baby Impala, there's not... Oh, lots of spider webs. There's not much meat on it, so even between two of them... Sorry, there we go, spider webs. It's not going to last long. She might have gone to look for young Hosanna, so I think we're going to head down towards that Philemon's Dip area where we last saw him. Maybe we'll find some tracks of all three of them. Likes to make us work hard, Karula. That is not a good noise for a car that has just been serviced. Vim says his car makes that noise all the time. Vim, that does not fill me with hope and faith. It started this time. There we go. We'll continue on. Unfortunately, we were stuck. James was close by. He could have given us a lift home. Will he have given us a lift home is a completely different story. So we weren't, one of the reasons we looked for the lions off the bat is we were relatively confident that Karula was not going to be here with such a small carcass. It wouldn't have taken her too long, even with just one of the cubs present, to finish that. I know Dale was asking about something chasing Hosanna, that he was separated from Karula. I didn't quite hear what, because the game drive radio was going. I'll wait for final control to enlighten me. Well, there seem to be no lumens coming from final control to lighten the situation. I'm guessing, Dale, that it would have been to do with baboons. Would they take advantage of him being away from the mom to attack? I think they would have attacked with the moms there or not, Dale, and especially a cub like that. But fortunately, I think after his last run-in with the Chakma baboons of Djuma, he learned his lesson. Hi Frank, and welcome to Safari Live. Frank is a new viewer. Frank would like to know approximately how many leopards do we have in our area. Well, Frank, in the greater Kruger, which is 8.5 million acres, is estimated between 2,000 and 2,500 leopards. But in our area alone, leopards we see regularly 10, but in nearly 2 years I think I've seen 26 or 27 different leopards. So some pass through, never to be seen again. Some set up territory. So, but regularly, I'd say it's probably 10. It's Karula, Shadow, Tundi, Nkanyeni, Tingana, Anderson. Who am I missing, VM? Sorry?
I wasn't counting.
Oh, you weren't counting with me. Okay. I can't. I'm trying to think now. Salahesh occasionally. So, and then you've got the youngsters that will be around for a while, like the cubs at the moment are 10 months old, Hosanna and Shongile. That should be around for a few months yet. Copy, James. So James is going to go check around from Zoe's. We're going to go check down to Philemon's dip. What are you staring at, Impala? Please be a leopard and please start snorting. Or a lion. What are you staring so intently at? But no snorts just yet. It's always worth having a check. Now you're looking at us. Okay. Wasting my time, Impala. Wasting my time. Oak Corn, another new viewer, welcome. Oak Corn is wondering how quarantine got its name. Well, this is quarantine, it's an open area to the left of us here. And of course also quarantine is also the name of a leopard. Well, this area got its name due to the fact that when they were attempting to farm cattle in this area, this is where the cattle were quarantined before they were moved off to other areas. And Quarantine the leopard got his name because this is after he became independent of his mum. He used to spend a lot of time hunting the impala around the quarantine clearings. so now we're in track mode. We've slowed down. We're going to go quite slowly, make sure we don't miss any footprints. Hopefully she hasn't moved too far south. And hopefully she's found young Hosana. Now, it's not that uncommon that leopard cubs get separated from their mom, and it can take a day or two to find them. So I wouldn't worry too much. And I saw him yesterday when I'm driving our guests, and he was happily hunting squirrels up and down the riverbed. So I'm sure he'll be able to, as long as he doesn't let his food go, which he did the last time, he should be able to fend for himself for a few days by eating squirrels and bugs and things like that. So most likely route for Krula would have actually been to come straight down this river system, either to continue towards the Mawati, or she might have cut the block and headed towards Twin Dams. So that's what we're looking for very carefully, to see where exactly her tracks go. The last place we saw Hosana was just here and just downstream of Philemon's Dip. Always check carefully here. So the last place I saw him was napping just down here. Of course he could have moved. Now when we get to road junctions, always a good place to look for tracks. Oh, not seeing any there. Oh, what's that there? No. Okay. So, and I said the next likely place for Krula to have moved is to cut this corner through towards Treehouse Dam. So we'll do a little loop towards Treehouse, and then come back down onto Weaver's Nest, check the edge of that little river system we last saw Hosana in. Just going to go nice and slowly now. So for those of you who are new, when you see me sit like this and stick my head over the side, I'm in the tracking mode. You hear that, Vim? Duiker's disappearing. There's another Duiker there, which is never bodes well for the presence of leopards. Let's just go have a quick look. Because Hosana might not have moved too far if he hasn't found his mom. Where was that squirrel sitting? Sitting here, looking, and we're looking that way. You see that? See the squirrel? I'm sticking his head out. Standing by. Byron, are we following up on Krula? She's not in the last position, so if you guys are willing to check in that area, it'd be great. Hey, so there's a squirrel. He stopped alarm calling now. Now, it could have been a slender mongoose he spotted. It could have been a bird of prey. I'm going to have a quick look around this area. While we do that, it seems like Jamie has arrived in the Far East. Cheetah Plains. Let's go have a look.
And jumping all the way to the Far East, we are in fact and have arrived safely on Cheetah Plains and are just bumbling around to see what we can see. Well, the only thing so far that we've picked up are big male lion tracks that went into Cheetah, which is a property that is outside of our traverse area. So whilst the animals don't have fences, we do have restrictions as to where we can go. All lodges do. Certain places can go places that we can't, and vice versa. The male lions, it sounds like one of the Birmingham boys for now, although there were 2 sets of tracks, are on Cheetah. And then there were tracks. You were talking about quarantine with Brent earlier. There were in fact tracks of one large male leopard crossing into Torchwood from the driveway. And it's always a little bit sad when you see tracks like that, because they were just so beautifully crisp and fresh that I knew that they were probably only a couple of hours old at the most. We not just missed him, but there was a point at which not too long ago a big male leopard walked all the way from Cheetah Plains and into Torchwood. My guess would be it's quarantine, the leopard with the curious name, who I have had a chance to see I think I've only seen him 3 times, actually. So it's been a relatively rare experience that I've had to spend time with him. Brent, I know, has spent a great deal more time with him, obviously. I started working here just as quarantine and Kanuma basically dispersed away from Djuma. So I just missed out on seeing them. And I think, because as far as I know, Shimbambalana, who is their older brother, as far as I know, who I've never seen either, he doesn't really move that far west. Could also be Tingana. It is right on the boundary, or what we understand to be the boundary of his territory. I'm not sure which leopard it was, but a big male leopard went into Torchwood. Now, today is National Cheetah Day. Earlier on we were talking about blood types. Now there's an animal that I'm going to guess and say does not have any different blood types, just because cheetah are known for their exceptionally poor genetic variability. So at some point in the last couple of thousand years, it is International Cheetah Day. I suppose that is a very valid distinction. It is International Cheetah Day. But at some point in the last few thousand years ago, the cheetah population bottlenecked. And as a result, the surviving members of that particular bottleneck have very little genetic variability. But thank you to those of you who sent through all of the information on primate blood types, and to Diane and many others, very much appreciated. So apparently the answer to that is that old world monkeys, so we're right about chimpanzees, old world monkeys, which includes baboons, do show signs of having different blood types. The apes, correct me if I'm wrong, they do express the AB, ABO antigens in their blood, whereas with something like baboons, it's not quite so clear, and it is expressed in other tissues of the body, but not necessarily in the blood. So there we go, some very interesting information coming through. An antigen, that was the word I was looking for, not antibody. Did you see that little antelope there, Jean-Andre? On the right, on the right of the tree. That doesn't really help you, does it? Oh, good, it moved. Thank you, little steenbokkie. Little female. Last time I was on Cheetah Plains, I saw a very pregnant female steenbok, but it wasn't quite here. Does that steenbok's tail look ridiculously short, or is it just that I haven't looked at a steenbok's tail in a while? Here we go. That is in fact, for our new viewers, a full-sized antelope. That is her adult size. Oh, bye-bye. Spooked. That is in fact a full-sized antelope. They're just very, very, very small. Right, I have a question. Sorry. Can I take that away from you, Gendre? Here we go. That's spider web number 1. Apparently it's catching the light. Looks good. Happy? I'm happy. I don't see any more. Oh. It's okay, Jig, I understand. Here we go. The trials, I say very jokingly, the trials of driving in summer, when all of the spiders have decided to string their webs out across the roads to catch insects during the night. Not nearly as bad as it would be if we were driving around river areas. In that case, you'd probably have to drive constantly with a stick, trying to catch and collect all of the spider webs and keep them off the lens. There you go, I was just reaching for a spider web. Back to the topic I was talking about before I was distracted. Question, Jamie, on Jigger. If the old world monkeys, and the old world and the new world distinction is basically a purely geographical one. The old world monkeys this side, new world monkeys in the Americas. Does that include, I suppose it probably wouldn't, because they're not technically monkeys. They're primates, but they're one of the most primitive primates, and I'm thinking of course of bush babies, or galagos, as they are officially known, and they're all part of the loris family, or related to the lorises. I wonder if they would have different blood types, in the same way that the older world monkeys do. I'm going to guess not. But that's a dangerous assumption to make. I'm going to be doing some more research on blood types this afternoon. That is what I foresee, because now I'm intrigued by the different expression of different blood types. Cheetah, as I said, I would be surprised if there's a huge amount of variability. And that is our project for the day, is to try and find you some cheetah on International Cheetah Day. A celebration of one of the most unique of the big cats, and of course also one of the rarest in number. It would be very nice, but very, very unlikely if we saw a female cheetah. Now, speaking of our big cats and speaking of female cheetah, which we unfortunately very seldom see, I think Brent said he saw one once in his time on driving around the northern Sabi Sand. Virginia, good morning to you. You want to know in terms of cub statistics, because of course Brent started off the morning looking for lion and leopard cubs. I'm looking for cheetah. Statistically, what is the most likely to survive? What has the highest rate of survival? You'll probably find that it is lions. In terms of cub mortality, the cheetah really, really do struggle. And again, it's so difficult because cub mortality rates, I'm not going to say they're conjecture, because that's not actually what I mean, and they are based on science, but they can be very area specific. If you are in an area where there are no lions, for example, and very little competition, there's a chance that your female cheetah are going to be more successful in raising cubs, and therefore their success rate would be statistically higher. But I would say on average, lion cubs probably have the best chance, provided a male doesn't come in and take over the territory, because that of course drops your average right down, and your cub survival rate is very, very low. So it would probably be lions, but there's not much in it. Cheetah are probably the worst off, especially in areas like the ones that we're in, or the ones that we move around in, where there is a massive, not massive, but there is a large population of lions, actually concentration of lions in this area. Sorry, I'm just checking the vast open area of the Cheetah Plains. no wildebeest. That's also secretly what I'm hoping for, to be honest. Wildebeest calves. But there are none here this morning. Same as yesterday. Fine. Let's go to the southern section of the Cheetah Plains open area. Perhaps we'll find our cheetah there. Or wildebeest. I'd be quite happy with a wildebeest calf, since it feels as though our wildebeest herd on quarantine has abandoned us. Just checking for cheetah tracks. Nope. It is amazing to see the vast difference in these areas over the last few weeks, where we couldn't we couldn't go around a corner without encountering an elephant herd or a buffalo herd. Now things are exceptionally quiet, and it seems as though a lot of our big animals have disappeared off elsewhere. Now that does mean that it will make Byron's life slightly easier as he moves out on foot. He is out and about, so let's head all the way back to Djuma so that he can say good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Bushwalk. My name is Byron. On camera with me this morning is Brian, and the Thumb. So B and B back together again on walk this morning, though. And then we've got Aubrey walking with us, which is great. And we've come to a small marula tree, and not a very big one compared to some of the other large ones we get around here, although it is fairly big, but they do get much bigger. But what I have picked up and found is a beautiful little seed that I'd like to show you, or the pip of the marula. Have a look at that. But what I wanted to show you, which I find so interesting, are these little holes. You see that? Now that would have probably been done by a squirrel. So these seeds, or the pods, this is the marula fruit seed, and the seed contains little nuts in it, and they are very tasty. I have tasted them before. And what happens is the squirrel comes, sits down, finds these little nuts, and will dig it out of anywhere, even elephant dung. They'll find whole fruit or the seeds, and they'll try and bore out the little the nut inside, and they'll feed on it, and that's what's left. It looks almost alien-like, I suppose, but very interesting little seed pod. And in some villages still, if you walk around in these areas, you can get the ladies will go out and collect marula fruit, and they return back to the village, and sometimes they make like a home brew out of it too, or the ladies will be sitting outside their little houses or huts, and they'll take these little seeds and they'll crush them and get all the nuts out of them, and then they'll have them for the family, and they'll have them ready for that day. And very rich in protein, obviously, as nuts are, but very tasty. It's nice to have them out here. So we are going to continue our bushwalk and see what we can find. We might see if we come across any tracks of Karula. I know Brent is looking for her. Just before, I did see something interesting that I wanted to show you over here. Before we do that, here we go, here it is. It's a beautiful little vine which grows along the ground with some beautiful pink flowers. These aren't open yet, but this is from a plant. This is called a devil's thorn, and it does indeed get very sharp thorns. I can't see one at the moment, with two little thorny parts off of a main little, almost looks like a seed. But what's fascinating by this little plant is if locals, or especially the local women, they would use this, and they would take water and they'd wet the leaf quite a bit. And I don't have water with me now, but just even rubbing it like this, you get a very soft mucus almost, which starts forming. and they use that as shampoo. So they'll take a lot of this, they'll rub it together with water, and it gets very soapy, and this liquid comes out, which is quite soft and almost silky, I suppose is the best way to describe it. They would use it to wash their hair, and then also they would use it as a lubricant, especially for women who are potentially going to give birth. They would use a lot of this devil's thorn. They'd use it to help with that. So very, very interesting how you can find something like this out here, and it is soft, and it is a very, very like I say, almost silky, soft, watery base that you get out of this plant. Very, very interesting to see it out here, and these beautiful flowers, but then of course that sharp thorn, which I don't see at the moment. Maybe later in summer we'll start seeing more of those thorns around. And something interesting now. I know Jamie was looking for wildebeest calves, and we can't see a calf just yet, but I've seen an adult out in the clearing. Let's have a look. There we go. You might see it walking through the clearing. I think there's an adult wildebeest. It's by itself, so that could potentially mean that it's and it looks like an adult male. Usually the females are in small groups or small herds, and that looks like it is a male, and he's potentially a dominant male who's trying to set up a little territory for himself. So it's not unusual to find a male by himself. What he'll do is find an area where there's perhaps good food for him to feed on, maybe a good rubbing post. That is a requirement for the wildebeest. They do need a nice tree to rub up against, and also a sandy little area. And if we go a little bit forward, I can see a little sandy spot, and I'll show you what they do. And then what that male wildebeest will do is set up his territory and just wait. Now hopefully some females will walk and join him in that area, and then he will do his best to defend that area against other males and protect those females and hopefully mate with them. So what he'll do is he'll find a nice sandy patch, very much like this one over here, and these wildebeest do like to dust bathe a lot. Helps protect their skin a little bit from the flies and the ticks that might sit on them. So they'll find an area and they go and they roll around, and you'll get these like little scrapings on the ground, and you'll find an area and it'll look almost something like that. You'll find a nice area, and when they start using it a lot, it actually hollows out slightly. You can imagine this big wildebeest lying and rolling in the sand constantly, and you get this beautiful little, almost like a bowl shape, very shallow, not deep at all, but you'll see a wildebeest rubbing very, very easily, and they'll go and roll in the sand and then move around. And they also use that to kind of mark their territory a little bit, and they might urinate in that area and also drop dung to keep other males out, and he will protect it. As I said, if any other males came into the area, he will run and chase them and try and chase them out of his territory, so that he may then hopefully get some females around. And often you'll find these wildebeest will hang around in areas where there are impala, and we are in these clearings very close to camp, and we do see a lot of impala out here. I can't see any at the moment. They've possibly moved into the thicket already to go and feed for the day, but the reason why the wildebeest will choose to stay with the impala is because it's a few extra sets of eyes to look out for potential danger, so any predators that might be around. Because he's by himself, it would help having other eyes around, keeping watch. So that is what they usually do, and it's not uncommon to also see wildebeest and zebra in the same area, purely because they feed on the same vegetation. They prefer the grass, they do prefer the clearings. Anyway, on that note, I think let us continue and see if we don't find any tracks of a female leopard. And while I do that, let's head back to Brent and get an update from him on where he is and what he's got. Yes, we have enlisted Byron's aid in our search for Queen Karula. So what we've done is we've moved further to the south, and we've done a big loop, making sure she hasn't popped out. Yeah, sorry, James is trying to get hold of me. Standing by. Copy, thanks. Good luck. So it sounds like the Nkomas have crossed out, unfortunately. So we'll keep checking for Queen Cruda. We haven't found any signs of her track just yet. No, false alarm. Now I'm gonna go have a quick look down Ingwe Alley, that area there around Philemon, see if she didn't head further to the sort of east where young Hassana was wandering about. Standing by. Ooh. Copy. Do you want me to check towards Sydney's, that side? Copy. Well, where do you think my dash will come out? Copy, thanks very much, William. Okay, so the Lions have gone to Sibambili, but for everything that leaves, something must return. So there are tracks of wild dogs. James and William are following. They're heading straight north towards the gate. So I think we're going to leave Byron in this area, as leopards don't quite move as fast as dogs. I think Karula's still somewhere here, because there's no tracks crossing on roads where we would see tracks quite nicely. And well, everyone knows how I love an African wild dog. By far my favourite animal out here in the bush. Now with all the baby Impala around, it's not impossible that Karula's made another kill quite quickly. Morning, Ali. Ali would like to know, are lions and wild dogs competitors? Well, all predators are theoretically competitors, and that's why they try to kill each other when they see each other. So the biggest threat outside of disease and lack of a habitat and human beings to wild dogs is the lion. Lions probably kill more wild dogs than any other animal, or in terms of natural deaths. So they are in competition. Although they're not really competing for the same food species, you would say leopard and wild dog are far more in competition for the same food species. But the way the predators work, they will try to remove any other predator from around, just to remove any potential competition for food. Okay. So we will come back, and we've got Byron and Aubrey wandering around here. So on foot, they've got a really good chance of seeing tracks that we might miss from a vehicle. So we're going to just do Vuyatela access straight up towards the gate, see if we find any sign of those wild dogs crossing, or hopefully even better, we find the wild dogs jogging towards quarantine. Now, if we do find wild dogs, I'm going to give you guys an early warning. Baby Impala and wild dogs, well, it's great if you're a wild dog, it's really bad if you're a baby Impala. My record in the space of about 20 minutes was 9 baby Impala. In a day, it was about 22 baby Impala. Okay, we're going to head toward the exit, and hopefully get to look at the dogs. In the meantime, let's go to Byron.
Just after 6 a.m. here, and already I can feel it's going to be a very, very hot day. And something interesting that I just have spotted is what looks like the start of a termite mound. But why I find it so so interesting is that the termites have come and build.
Oh, sorry about that. It seems as though poor Byron lost signal on his bushwalk, but as you know, live safaris, sometimes things go wrong. There's a huge amount of technical know-how and things that go into bringing you live bushwalks, and sometimes they don't always work out exactly as planned. However, your timing is perfect, because I'm busy trying to puzzle something out, and it's something to do with the tracks that are on the ground in front of me. And we've got a male leopard track here. At first I thought I was looking at a cheetah track, and jumped out most excited. Not that I'm not excited to see a leopard track, but it seems as though it is not a cheetah. In fact, it definitely isn't a cheetah track. So I'm going to hop out to show you what it is you're looking at for those of you that are new to these safaris, just briefly. My puzzle is... I think this was the best one, wasn't it, John Doe? Now my puzzle is, these tracks are fresh, they're from last night. The question is how fresh. So these are the toes of the leopard. And there we go, that's the back of its foot, so the 3 lobes at the back of the foot. And just in terms of sheer size, it tells me immediately that it is in fact a male leopard and not a female. And the fresh, crisp, clear outlines of these tracks that might not be terribly clear to you, but to me, I can see that these were made last night. At the very least, and they're going straight north. What's that direction? West. They're going straight northwest. Now the question is, are they the same? Is this the same leopard that popped out and went to Torchwood, and has in fact been found on Torchwood, although it hasn't been clarified exactly who it was? Because let me give you a rough idea of where we are. Hold on. Let's see if I can make this work. Bear with me a second. Let me get up my map to help you to orientate yourself. So, I'm going to keep my screen in the shade just to reduce the glare. We are that blue dot over there. This is the Kruger National Park over here. This is Mala down here. This is the road we've just driven on. Check the open areas. And when you last saw me, I was there at Cheetah Plains Pan. To the north of us is Nkoro. The tracks are going in a this sort of direction. And the tracks that I found popped out roughly here, on this road here, and then crossed into Torchwood. Now, so that's the way in which, obviously that red line is the way in which we go into Cheetah Plains. Leopards can, when they're on a mission, they can and they do walk a very direct straight line. A lot of the time they don't. We all know that the joke about Karula and the fact that she doesn't necessarily pick a direction. But you see my dilemma here. I'm not 100% sure. They're roughly the same size. In fact, they're almost exactly the same size. We know that Shimbambalana and Quarantine move around these areas, so it could be 2. That's quite a big distance. But leopards move big distances all of the time. That distance is... I just thought of something. No, it does make sense. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking, because they have found a leopard in Torchwood, but it's slightly just to the north of Nkoro. But that it could be one of 2. It's a little bit too confusing. So I think what we'll do is we'll check and see if we can't catch where the tracks... Oh, awesome. Well done, Gendre. Cool. Oh. Wait, hold on. No, wait, come back. Wait, we want to just look at you. There you go. Okay, that's fine. You are beautiful. Hi. Isn't she beautiful? Or he? Beautiful. A mantis with a face that makes you clearly see what characters they are. Look at the antennas responding to my finger. Or not. Now it's stopped. It's absolutely wonderful. Well done, Gendre. Wonder if it'll box me, like the one that boxed James. Hello. Phenomenally lightning fast predators, or predatory insects, hello, with fantastically good eyesight. You can see those massive eyes that are now staring at me with what I can only describe as actually quite an intimidating expression. I'm not sure maybe if it's just the spacing of the eyes, but I do know that mantids can see very well. And then have a look at the hooks on the bottom of its legs. And that, or bottom of its front legs, sorry. And that is what this particular insect uses to grab onto its prey. So a big thank you to Gendre for managing to catch this particular mantid. Now, I have a horrifying knowledge of what lives inside the abdomen of... Just swaying. I'm a leaf, I'm a leaf, I'm a leaf. I'm a leaf, I'm a leaf, I'm a leaf. So cool. I actually have a horrifying knowledge of what lives inside the abdomen of most of these mantids, and the reason I do is because I have a dog called Lexi, and Lexi grew up in the bush. She was brought into the bush when she was 7 weeks old, and she grew up in the bush. And one of the stages that she went through in the summer months, was she kept chasing insects and she kept catching them, despite best efforts. And, oh, she nearly flew there. And what lives inside the abdomen of insects like mantids is something called a horsehair worm. It is a parasitic, almost tapeworm-like thing. But the amount, Lexi used to grab them, and I'm sorry, this is a slightly revolting description, so I apologize if I upset some of you with the more sensitive stomach. She used to grab them, and she'd kill the mantid, and out of its abdomen would extend. I can't describe to you how many of these worms and how much space they must take up in this particular animal's abdomen. They're not all obviously infected with them. It is a type of parasite. And these horsehair worms are folded. They'll be... Oh, thank you. I think I just had a James-like effect on the mantid. I just defecated down the steering wheel onto my leg. I just had to check it out quickly. But yes, these horsehair worms are folded up, intricately folded up inside the abdomen of the mantids because, of course, they don't have blood vessels in the same way that human beings do. They have what's known as a hemocoel, which is an open blood cavity. And apparently what happens with these horsehair worms is they eventually start to affect the nervous system of the insect and the brain of the insect, ultimately resulting in the insect drowning themselves because the worms reproduce in water. So once their life cycle is at that point where they want to reproduce, they drown their host. So utterly creepy things. Really, really. And even the mantids that she caught and that I found these worms in are healthy specimens just like this. They don't look any different. They look absolutely normal. Ooh, it actually gives me the shivers. It's like something out of a horror movie, I promise you. The insect world is a strange and fascinating place. Hey? Don't you want to turn for us slightly because your face is so beautiful, although your back is as well. It's alright. Gone immobile. Pretending not to be a living thing. Hoping that I will, as all predators often do, I will lose interest. I wonder, sorry, can we go back down its back a little bit, Jandre? Just to the yellow spots on it. Looks like eyes to me, eye markings. Lots and lots of insects have those eye markings. Moths, thought to be a way of essentially intimidating or basically saying to a predator, don't bother to attack me because I've seen you, even though the animal actually hasn't. I had heard about that, and I have to confess, I find that horrifying, and I don't know why, maybe horrifying is the wrong word, although I hear what you're saying. So Aqua tells me that, and it's something I have heard before, that the mantis in the USA can catch hummingbirds. That's terrifying, isn't it? What is it about that? Because we're okay with bee-eaters catching mantises and hornbills catching mantises, but the thought of it working the other way around, I wonder what it is that makes us so innately afraid of that sort of thing, or makes us so, it feels so, it's not wrong, but it feels out of the swing of things. Like the world has gone topsy-turvy. But thank you, Aqua. That is horrifying in its own way. The thought of a mantid that's able to catch a hummingbird. I mean, a hummingbird's not a big bird, but it's still. We often have conversations. Somehow I end up often having these conversations with VM, strangely enough. Conversations about how lucky we are that evolution has not favored large insects. I mean, large as in the size of small dogs or something. Oh, we're getting a view of the wings. I wonder if it's injured in some way that it can't fly, or perhaps it's reaching the end of its life cycle. We often talk about with our cheetah and our leopard and our lions about the predator hierarchy. Ravi, you want to know where do I think that mantids rank in terms of insect hierarchy? And very appropriately, as you said that, a spider hunting wasp flew past. I didn't see it, but I could hear it. Ravi, I don't know that we can classify insects in quite the same way we can mammals, just because obviously there are so many different species of insects, and their families are enormous. So we often when we're talking about the names of insects, we're actually talking about families rather than specific insects, because they come in such a variety of shapes and sizes. A big mantid ranks probably quite high, along with something like a hunting wasp, like the spider hunting wasp that we saw. Longhorn beetles can be phenomenally intimidating, wood borer beetles, but that's not because they're predatory so much as they have these vicious looking mandibles. We're talking about insects, but in terms of arthropods, it gets even more complicated, because then you start looking at spiders and scorpions and centipedes. So I think it's a little bit, Ravi, I think it's a little bit more tricky to classify properly in terms of a hierarchy. Is there a predatory insect that I'm forgetting? An actively predatory, yes, ground beetles. Ground beetles like assassin bugs and blister beetles, they're predatory. They run around catching things all the time. So it's a bit tricky to create a hierarchy, although mantids probably are relatively high. Now, our particular friend here is grabbing at my finger. I just wanted to see if I could turn her around. Seems to be sort of gearing up for a little bit of a... Every now and again, her wings come out. But I don't think this is a fully healthy mantid. I think it probably would have tried to fly away by now. Very good question from Heather. And I'm just trying to remember Heather. Heather wants to know if there's any local myths or stories regarding mantids. And there is one, and I'm just struggling to remember the detail. It also doesn't help that I've just recently watched Kung Fu Panda 3 in a moment of boneless exhaustion. And there was a mantid in that now I've got that in my head. I'll try and remember for you. I have definitely heard one. I have definitely read one. I'm sure there is some kind of story about their wisdom or something. They're meant to be very intelligent, very wise, or maybe... No, that doesn't come from Kung Fu Panda. Sorry, can I have my finger back? Thank you. Right, what are we going to do with you? You want to name him, Gendre? The mantid. Mallory. What did you go with?
Manly the mantid.
Sorry?
Manly.
Manly the mantid. What if it's a lady? I did say him, you are right. Valid point. I quite like Mallory because it could be a surname, it could be a woman's name, or it could be a surname. See that leaf motion? Chameleons do it as well. I'm not sure any of you have seen that amazing footage of the chameleon hunting. I don't remember which documentary series it's in. Chameleon hunting, and there's a mantid hunting another insect, and then the chameleon gets it out of nowhere. His legs reaching up to try and find its way up my finger. What are we going to do with you, Mallory? naughty, I'm going to get into trouble. Hello, yes, I'm talking about you. I love the head turn. What I want to do... Oh my word, look at that. Mandibles on this animal. And then the feelers around the front of the mandibles to help guide food into them. And of course, mantids have that profound reputation for eating their mates as soon as they've finished with them. They are very much predatory creatures. Rocking on my finger, pretending to be a leaf. And actually, it's relaxed completely now. Look, it's cleaning. Cleaning the joints of its legs. The feeder's hard at work. And now doing yoga. It's doing mantis yoga. Now cleaning the middle leg. That is so fascinating. Cleaning all of the mites and the dirt, and it's important that they stay clean. Otherwise, their segmented legs start to get stuck. Right, are we done now? Are we clean? Jandre, if I hold Mallory up close to your camera, will you be able to get a good view of the face or the jaws? I will bring it right up for you. How's that? Say hello to everyone, Mallory. You're one of the most famous mantises in the world now. Mantids. I need longer arms. I need Brent length arms for this. How's that? In this position I definitely can't see what you're seeing. Hello. And that? It's shy. Jandre is assisting me by providing a tripod. There you go. An unprecedentedly cool view of a praying mantid. Right, I'm going to reposition my arm so that blood can flow once again to my fingertips. What are we going to do with you, Mallory? This has been such fun. Would you like to sit on my shoulder? You can feel the wind blowing through your antenna, because I don't think you're very healthy. I think you would have flown away if you could have. What do you say? Yes. Okay, well, how about you go there? It's nice and green. No, you can't come onto my face. You've got to go onto my shoulder. If you're going to stay here, you've got to be... Oh. Okay, fair enough. You are going to get so tangled. Okay, on the top of my head it is then. Mallory, off we go. Mallory the mantid has found itself in prime position. Let's go. Let's go see about these leopard tracks. Well done, Jandre. The fascinating find of the morning.